But I'm Ty, the Mindset Shift Maven on this platform. And this series is Let Me Bend Your Ear. And I am sharing my favorite spiritual development tools. The music that I have to set the tone is, it's a mix of Indian drums and Tibetan bowls. I am so aligned with like Indian practices, which is something that I found, and I can understand because India is highly spiritual. It's very ancient. A lot of the practices that we have here have their roots in India, and so when I just found this music and turned it on, I just like felt something just kind of like take me back. So that's the music we've got. Good morning, Chanel. Good morning. That's the music that takes me back. And so and then I've got my tea. So that's really all that I've got this morning, because I'm going to be sharing a bunch of tools, and I feel like all those tools set the tone. And so so let's get started. I think this one today I'll be able to keep 20-30 minutes. So I can tell you, spiritual development tools, I give you an overview. I use books, journals, meditation, therapy, astrology, numerology. I use the Bible app. I don't go to church. I don't consider myself aligned with the organized religion, but I do personally look at Jesus as one of my ascended masters. And so I do love studying the scriptures. So I do use the Bible app, and I use different daily devotionals that would be considered Christian daily devotionals. And then I also use yoga. And so those are a few of the things that are a part of my spiritual development tools. And then I'll just go into those. So first up, the books. For those of you who want to, read these books or look for them, or you may have already read them. So you just hate writing. You know what I really love, what I found, what I have started to implement in blogging, because I personally don't like, I love writing in my journal, but I don't like really blogging like that. But I understand the benefits of blogging. I use, the reason why is because I don't feel like I have yet to find my authentic voice when it comes to blogging. And in my journal is absolutely, 100% me. And so what I found is on my phone, I'm looking for my phone. My phone's right here. That's exactly what I do. I record my thoughts. So I have a text to talk option or talk to text option on my phone. And so I record, I'll just talk out my thoughts, and it'll type it up, and it'll do it for like up to 10 minutes, I believe, on my phone. And so I love using that. So maybe that could be a form of journaling for you if you don't like writing. But I will say I am a fan of writing because, like I said, the science behind it is that you have a higher chance, especially when you're writing down your goals, you have a higher chance of achieving your goals. I honestly believe science has said you have like a 33% more chance of achieving your goals when you write it down than when you just like have it just in your head or just like say it. So I am a fan of writing down, but I get it if writing is not your thing. But books. So one of my all-time favorite books is The Alchemist. That has helped me on my spiritual journey. I have probably read this book because I read it about once a year, and I started doing that in 2007. And I know a couple of years I so you're gonna have to grow up. Excuse me. For a couple of years, I read it like 2 or 3 times in a year. So I've read this book over 15 years. And the reason why I feel so aligned with it especially if you've caught my stories. I went through in 2019 my dark night of the soul, and I shared content from the holistic psychologist about what dark night of the soul is. And this book really helped me through 2019, mainly because I felt really aligned with the character. If you've read this book, the character's name is Santiago, and if you haven't read it, I won't give, I mean, there's no way to just give it away, because literally every time I read this book, I find something new in it for my life right now. But there's a character named Santiago. He goes off on his own life journey. He decides not to follow the path that his parents have laid out for him or that society expects of him. And he goes out on this journey. And in the midst of this big adventure, yes, Elon, I definitely greatly suggest it as well. In the midst of this, of him looking for what he's called his personal treasure or purpose in life, he makes a pit stop, and he is working at a crystal shop for 7 years. And if you like understand the power of numbers, 7 is a very powerful number, especially in numerology. But I aligned with it so much because before I decided to quit my job, I was working at it for 7 years, and I felt like it was a pit stop. And I remember there were 2 times while I was at my job that I tried to leave it. And I can tell you, I used to work as a diversity and inclusion consultant in Chicago, you know, from the outside looking in, ritzy position, highly political. I was in room rubbing shoulders with, you know, a lot of the people that we see on the news, a lot of elected officials, powerful officials, but it just did not feel like me. And there were 2 times that I tried to leave, didn't leave the position. Similar in the same way with Santiago, until you really just get to this point. And this, I don't know what it is about 7. 7 is a number of a completion, but you just get to this point where you're like, if I do not go, like, I am going to die. Like, it's that dramatic. It's like, if I do not do anything different, if I do not like pivot like I need to, if I don't physically die, I am going to like spiritually die, which you can see some people who have been at jobs for a very long time. They are just jaded by the job. There's no passion behind what they're doing. And I did not want to get to that point. I felt myself getting to that point. And I like to believe that Santiago felt himself getting to that point too. And so I mean, this is just a beautiful story. It's a simple read. I honestly could tell you could read this book in 1 week. Some days I could finish it in, like, sometimes I've been able to finish it in 2 to 3 days. I meant to mark one of my favorite quotes from here. It's mentioned a few times in this book. Oh, I'm gonna have to just share it. I've created so much content around this, but so that's one of the books. I've shared this one, Conversations with God. Conversations with God was like a mind-blowing book. If you've seen my earlier Let Me Be in Your Ear episodes, I've shared that I was kind of hesitant to share this book with my own audience, because this book baby, you got to be really ready to receive this book. Okay, really ready. Like, I was blown away, and I'm so open when it comes to that. And I was like, ooh, when he wrote this book in the 90s, I'm sure he has to be getting hate mail. Good morning. Good morning. No, everyone is not ready for this, but this was the book that sparked me to have the experience that I shared with you all, because the very important question in here is how can I serve? Like, how can I serve, which is complete, which, you know, I believe is completely aligned with your purpose in life. It's aligned with your life vision, and And so this book, Conversations with God, just truly led me to, if I were to pick out one point in my adult life, because there have been many moments, I've had experiences with angels since I was a child. And then there was I went to a Catholic nun. I picked Catholic nun. You said, what's the name I just joined? Oh, this one is Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. The first book was The Alchemist. I haven't made it to, yes, I've read 2 and 3. Yep. But yeah, I've had just so many different experiences, and but this book still just blew me away. This is one of my favorite books. For people who come to me individually, this is the one I'll suggest this to them. I haven't really shared it with my audience often, but that's a good one. And then, ladies, this one. Let me tell you, this book's so toe up. Look at this, y'all. look, the book toe up. It's toe up. That's tape. You see the tape? Look at the tape, because let me show you. That's how much I have studied this book. I could do that. That's how much I've studied this book. I refuse to get a new one. If I get a new one, I won't give up this one. If I get a new one, I'm most likely like gift it to someone, because people do like gifting me books. But this one has just all of my notes and all of it. No, I'm not getting another one. It has all of my notes, but this book is powerful. It is powerful in that this book requires you to go deep into your psyche to understand yourself, to understand the spiritual part of it. Women Who Run with the Wolves, I absolutely love it, because when I started meditating, and that's how I was actually attracted to this book. When I started meditating, I had this vision, and I can't think of the name of the term, but the correct term is not spirit animal, but something similar to a spirit animal, because only those who are Native American can have a spirit animal. The rest of us have, I'm at a loss with the correct term right now. But I had this like wolf. I was meditating and just was looking for just different ways to connect. This is when I began working with my spirit guides, and I had this like big, I mean, it seems so real that I was in this chair and did like this because it was like this vision that just took up my entire inner sight of a wolf. And I just started looking up like, what in the world does a wolf mean? Like, how is that aligned with my life? And I came across this book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. It took me, the first time I read this book, it took me 9 months to read it. And that is how long I would suggest reading this book, because it requires you to digest it. I took it one chapter at a time to digest it. It is intelligent. It is extremely deep. What does Maya Angelou said, I am grateful to Women Who Run with the Wolves. And to Dr. Clarissa Pinkola says, the work shows the reader how glorious it is to be daring, to be caring, and to be women. Everyone who can read should read this book. It just goes completely into all I can say is you said yours is a spider. You're confused about that. Yeah, I would do a little more research on that one. But I would definitely just say, especially for women, when you are just at that point where you almost feel like disconnected from your womanhood, or disconnected from your intuition. Intuition is a really big theme of this book. Especially when you feel disconnected from your intuition. And typically women, when they feel disconnected from their intuition, they'll use terms like I feel lost, or I don't know which direction to go. I feel unhinged, or I feel dead, you know, just in my soul, like I'm just on autopilot. I always recommend this book to them, and I let them know ahead of time, this book is a hard read. It is not easy. Take your time. Do not try to rush through this book. Give yourself grace if you pick up this book and don't, you know, if you put down this book and don't pick it up for another year or so. Give yourself grace, because this book opens up something inside of you. And since then, I've read it like three or four times. I was actually going to go to a conference that she had somewhere in Colorado before the pandemic shut everything down. So that was sad that I could not attend that. But those are the top 3 books. Yes, I would definitely say order this right now. Those are the top 3 books that I used on my spiritual journey and that I absolutely recommend. And I still refer to them to this day. If I'm just drawn to, like, I need a quote, I need something to study, I'll be drawn, you know, still drawn to those books. And now, journals. These aren't even all my journals that I write in, but I told you I write in journals. And so I have a journal for like everything. Let me pull out the journals that I mainly write in, and I'll share the other ones with you. So okay, I'll save the 2 journals that I mainly write in for last. So this journal that my best friend gave me, cute little Louis Vuitton, I use this kind of like just to reflect on my day. Just to get it out. You can typically see patterns if you write down just what happens. Like I'm not deep diving into, oh, how did I feel? It's really just a record of my day, of what happened. So, you know, maybe for the day of the election, I would have, you know, wrote down like, there was an election today. This is what I did. You know, this is how I felt throughout the day. I may or may not have, you know, given up on my, actually that day, I did give myself the rest of the day off and watch like some of my favorite movies. And so I just keep a journal just for a record of my day. This journal here, my fiance has joined. He's in the other room. This journal here is my gratitude journal. So remember yesterday I was speaking about gratitude journaling, and that's how you can manifest. That's how you can, you know, begin to practice manifesting, is writing down things that you're grateful for that you have in your life right now. B. Lamar 2018 is my fiance, y'all. I'm grateful for you, baby. But writing down the things that you're grateful for in your life right now and the things that you would like to attract. I do that. I also use this because, like I've shared also, my prayers are not prayers of spamming, you know, spamming God. So I have found that I've begun to write down my prayers in here, which are just, you know, thank you in advances. Like that's basically, you know, what it is. So I use this as my gratitude journal, and I try to write down 10 things a day that I'm grateful for. The Love You journal, for those of you who are familiar with it, I created this myself. If you can see, my name on the side. The Love You journal is a journal that I created myself. These two are actually very aligned with each other, because I read this book, and I read this book, and when I asked the question, how can I serve? This is the task that I was given. This is the task by God that I was given. And I honestly did not think that I would be sharing it. Chanel, if you have this, I really appreciate you supporting. But I can tell you, this is a hard task. I did not understand why it was being given to me. I did not think that it was for me to share with the world, but I have. It has been sold all over the world. But it's 365 questions that were just given to me, and And so every now and then, because sometimes I look at these questions like, ooh, girl, what was you thinking? Because these questions can get really deep, okay? And so I'll, you know, sometimes I open up to just a random question. Sometimes I'll go in order. It just, you know, just really depends. And so I'm thankful that I was led to do this. And I'm very thankful for, oh, that's so crazy. Look, I opened it up to write down at least 10 things that you're grateful for. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble. I'm working on rebranding my website to put it back on my website. But you can still get it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. Thank you. It is a great self-reflection book. And then this book, this is just a regular journal. I got this. I don't know if you all know who Myleik Till is. She's the owner of Curlbox, and she has like a yearly retreat. And so I was accepted into the retreat last year. Yeah, it's been a year. Last year. And this was one of the journals that was in our swag bags. And I've just used this journal along my, like when I'm meditating. So in my spiritual practice, I kind of put together a plan for myself that's just given to me through intuition of what I should be working on next. And so I have, and I would say I'm still working on my my chakras. And so that is what this became. It's almost like a study journal. So, you know, I would meditate and I'll work on, like if I'm working on my root chakra, I'll meditate. And then, you know, depending on the information or the intention I set during meditation, I'll go in and maybe like research more stuff about the root chakra. And also I'm writing, you know, writing about my experience, writing about what crystals I use, writing about what messages I receive, what next steps to take when it comes to root chakra with your chakras. It's very practical stuff, like what herbs to use in my bath, what Epsom salts, scents, you know, that I could use for the day, what colors to wear to help me. And so I keep all of that in a record here in this journal. Let's see. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that, Faith. That is, I love it. I love it when people are aligned to receive the message. So these last two journals I write in the most. This one is, let me start with this one actually. This one, you see the eye that it's got on it. This is a journal that I use from messages from God, higher self, source, universe, my spirit guides. I do decode my dreams, and I help others sometimes decode their dreams, but I do believe that decoding dreams is a very personal practice. I do work with my ancestors, spirit guides, angels. I record all the messages that I receive in here. And so one example that I'll share with you all, I've shared it before, of just an amazing way that you could just use the different, like, I just feel like with spirituality, it's just a buffet of things that you can use that I absolutely love. And how they all can intertwine. So I study outside of astrology and numerology. I study a very rare study of science. It's called numerology, and it's basically the science of inner knowing, basically like the science of intuition. And so I decided to start studying. I was led in my spiritual journey to start studying karma, and how for the most part we do not understand as a society. Obviously there are people who completely understand how karma truly works in our lives, but I said I want to work on correcting my karma from either this life or past lives. I want to work on it. So I was studying karma. I was able to figure out there's a formula for figuring out your karma and what you're supposed to work on in this life. I love to share that with you all one day. Probably won't be this month because that's like a deep dive type of thing. But I was working on it. And so that's the science of numerology. In astrology, there is I want to try to just keep it simple. But if you're into your natal chart, if you studied your natal charts, it's the Chiron or Chiron. I always forget how to pronounce it. That is connected to your karma. And so in the midst of me decoding my dreams, I had a dream about the astrological, the zodiac sign Taurus. And I just want to share just how I use the messages that I receive along my spiritual journey to help me evolve spiritually, which, like I said, is a part of all of our purpose of being here, is to evolve spiritually and emotionally. So I had a dream about a Taurus. And initially upon waking up, I was thinking like, man, what is this dream? What is the Taurus in the dream? Like, what does that have to do? like, and so I started thinking about the people in my lives who are Tauruses, and I was like, okay, it's not, just from decoding dreams and understanding dreams, and I've been studying dreams since I was 16. Dreams almost always only have to do with you. So even if you have other people in your dreams, your psyche has projected like that person's image, something that you connect with that person is just playing a role in your psyche, but all of it's you. And so I was able to say, okay, it's not, I have a, my brother is a Taurus, one of my like really close cousins, a sister cousin's a Taurus. And I was like, okay, so it's not them that I'm dreaming about. So just through intuition, something was like, go to your natal chart. And there's only one place in my natal chart that has to do with the Taurus. And that is as it's related to my karma. And so that is what continued me along the path. So I just started studying what it means to have your Chiron in Taurus, which is what I have. That's the only place that I have Taurus in my natal chart. And so it really just helped me make another step, take another step. I'm going to answer your question, Chanel, in a quick second, but it really helped me just take another step in my spiritual development, just to get me closer to evolving and to clearing the karma, which was just my objective in this step. And he said, so when I speak of these is regarding horoscopes. So horoscopes, that's this journal. So I'm gonna answer her question. So horoscopes is different. Horoscopes is the very surface of when it comes to astrology. And I'll give you a quick history lesson of how it came to be pretty popular. So the horoscopes that you receive today became popular. I mean, it is a completely washed down version of astrology to receive a horoscope today. Absolutely, completely washed down. And it became popular because this astrologist wanted to write in for a popular newspaper in the UK. And he was able to convince the newspaper to give him a column because by deeply studying the natal chart of the Queen and being able to point out the death of her father, which I'm not sure if you're familiar, with the royal family right now. And so because he was able to do that, he was able to convince the newspapers to give him a column. So in a column, you only have so much space. And so, people just caught that, like, they love that, and so he was able to water it down where he could fit one line for, Pisces, one line for Aquarius, one line. And that's what your horoscopes is that, it's for a collective. Whereas I use astrology and studying my own natal chart and helping others study their natal charts to use those bits and pieces for spiritual development. I don't look at my horoscope. I don't follow that. I don't entertain like the memes and stuff because they're funny, but most of the time they're wrong. But they're funny and they're fun. So so yeah, so that's that. And I'm going to share actually a book that I use for astrology because that is one of my tools. And so the last journal, this is my manifesting journal. In this journal, I write down everything. Like I told you all your homework yesterday was to write down everything that you want to accomplish in this life. I have a 100 things list, which is like a bucket list. I write down everything that I want to manifest, small things, big things. You know, it really doesn't matter. Like I will write it down in this journal because I believe, like I said, I believe when you write something down, you have a higher chance of accomplishing it. And actually share when I was younger, I'm gonna share this view with y'all real quick. When I was younger, because manifesting could happen in 2 seconds or in 25 years. But when I was younger, I remember manifesting this view right here of the Sears Tower in Chicago. And look, got a little something on it. And I remember writing down, specifically writing down that was the view that I wanted to have. Because at the time I was like, oh, so you live, you know, where you can see the Sears Tower, you rich, you're successful, you're an executive in your corner office. And I remember writing that down. And I was so then, because other little things were happening in my life when I was younger from just writing it down. But I was so thin on the idea of writing it down. So that's what I use this journal as in my adult life, to write down the things that I want to manifest. So those are the journals. I also use meditation. Meditation is one of the tools that I use. I won't go real deep into, you know, meditating, but during meditation is when I will work with my spirit guides. That's when I'll connect with my ancestors. That's when I have worked with, you know, like angels, and my higher self. And so I absolutely love meditating because every day when I meditate, I set an intention of what I want. It's almost like meditating for me. It sets the tone for the day. I can set an intention, and it's almost like I'm given my task for the day. And if I complete that, I have a great day. And I can honestly say, since I started meditating, I do have more great days than bad ones, because I can always go back to, if I feel like I'm getting anxious or it's becoming a bad day, I can always go back to that time that I meditated, remember my intention, remember the messages that were given to me or downloaded, you know, into me. And then it's almost like, okay, then I'm being guided back on that path, away from a path of frustration or, you know, being down in the dumps. And so that's what I use meditation as, and I absolutely love it. Therapy, that's another tool. I've shared with you all the power of therapy. I am a believer. I believe everyone should have a therapist, and that every child should have a therapist, should have access to a therapist. I use astrology, which I shared with you all, but I share these books. So with astrology and numerology, like I said, I truly do believe that those are our maps for, we come to this earth, and I believe that those are our maps to help us spiritually and emotionally evolve, because they're so personal with astrology. So this book, if you just, you know, if you want to like kind of understand your natal chart at, you know, at a very basic point, it's what is it? Stephen Arroyo's Chart Interpretation Handbook. And understanding your natal chart, which is why I believe that they're maps, it requires your date of birth, your location of birth, and your time of birth. Those things are unique to you, just like anything else on a map is unique to you. Thank you. I'm gonna do my hair today. And then numerology. This is the book I suggest for beginners. I read this from the Chicago Public Library. It's Your Days Are Numbered. I love numerology because it requires your birthday. It's a study of numbers and the impact and vibration that numbers have on our lives. And so I have shared about in numerology, how I use it to self-develop is I really take into account my personal year number. And so personal year number for me this year was personal year 1. And then for next year for me, it'll be a personal year 11. And how I use the practice or the science of numerology to self-develop is that in each year, there are certain energies that are around you depending on what your personal year number is. And so I'll just give an example for, and I think I've shared this with you all. If I haven't, I have, but I'll just quickly go over it. How I use my personal year number. So in 2019, when I was planning for 2020 and knowing that I was having a personal year number, a message just popped up. The keyword, each year has a keyword. And so for personal year 1, it's planting. And the idea is that we go through these cycles in our lives that are about 9 years. They last about 9 years. So 2019 was a 9 year for me, which means I started over. And so 2020 is a 1 year for me. And in understanding these cycles, then that means the first year is at the very beginning of your next cycle. And so in a personal year 1, as it relates to your life purpose and your life vision, you are planting. That's the key word, is to plant. You're planting just the ideas, the things that you want to manifest in your life, who you want to become over the next 9 years. Personal year 1 is a planting year. And so I've shared, my life vision is to be a successful, global, influential, motivational teacher, businesswoman. It is to be a loving and supportive wife, and it is to be a doting mother to beautiful, healthy children. And all of those things were planted in this year, in the year 2020. Let me see how much time we got. Oh, we over time. And so I use astrology and numerology, the maps, which I believe are maps to help us through this life. I use those. Those are 2 of my favorite spiritual development tools. Like I said, I do also I love studying scriptures. So I use the Bible app. I love studying just Jesus' words, because the role that Jesus plays in my life is as an ascended master. I'm not, I no longer align. I was raised as a Christian, non-denominational church, but I no longer align with organized religion. But I do love reading Jesus' scriptures and coming from not the manipulation of organized religion, but what the message that Jesus was truly giving us. And then I also use yoga. And because I don't want to continue to hold you all up, I'm not going to go so deep into how I use yoga, but it is aligned with where I share with you all how our bodies, our 3 bodies, our physical body, our emotional, mental bodies, and our spiritual bodies are aligned. And yoga is what I use physically to help me in my spiritual development. And so those are the tools that I use. Those are my favorite tools. Your homework is just to explore those tools, explore any tool, that, again, that's what I love about spirituality, is that it's a buffet. I believe that you choose your journey to your highest self, or to God, to source, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call this highest self in your spiritual evolution. And those are the paths that I have chosen. And I love it because I chose it. I absolutely love it. I've never felt more connected in my life. And so your homework is whatever you've been maybe interested in. Maybe just do your Googles, do some research, do more research on it. And then of course, share this video with someone. So thank you all for tuning in. Let's see. You said my main popping number is 9 and 19. I've been decoding it so long. I'm gonna get it. Oh, dope. Yes. So I could tell you that that 19 actually would be reduced to a 1. So that's actually pretty powerful. That your main numbers are 9 and 1, which are the beginnings and the endings of the cycle. So make sure that you are looking into that too. He said my life is booked up. Girl, I love there's books everywhere. I do. I don't want oracles. Do you have recommendations? I don't know much about oracles or tarot readers. I haven't really gotten into it. Oh, that's dope. See, life path number 1. I didn't even know that. I'm a life path 11. Yeah, I don't know any oracles or tarot. I haven't really been aligned with tarot. It's very interesting though. My sister is, but I'm not. Let's see, I'm the first and last zodiac to Aries sun. I am a Pisces sun and an Aries rising. Chanel, what you saying? You said, what am I? What are you saying? I have to get that book. You wrote, what am I question. Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy that it helped you. I appreciate that. Well, Chanel, feel free to DM me. Oh, to find out your sign. To find out your signs, or to find, okay, so there's 2 different things. So to find out your signs, your natal chart, that's under astrology. So you would just need to know your birthday, your location of birth, and your time of birth. And then I'll actually have to, yeah, Cafe Astrology. I was going to say I have to link. There is another, I believe Cafe Astrology actually links to this natal chart that I use. I'm not sure. I'm going to link it in my bio, in my links, what I use. But you'll need to know that information to get your natal chart, which is your birthday, your time of birth, and your location of birth. And then to get your numbers, that's easy because if you actually order that book, Your Days Are Numbered, it walks you through it. You really just need your date of birth. Oh, and I didn't share, right, the 3 main numbers in your when it comes to numerology are like your life path number, which there's a specific calculation with that. I know I've shared it. It actually might be under one of my, I think it's under, if you go under the 12 areas of the whole self, or it might be like 12 AOTWS. In my highlights there, I believe I have the calculation there of how to calculate your life path number. If not, I have to add it. I know it's definitely a calculation there for how to calculate your personal year number. Which is great because this is a great transition time to prepare for 2021. But that's under the practice of numerology. But yeah, so you would just need to know your birthday and your full name, your full original name. So if you are married or, so often if you were adopted and maybe your last name was changed, with numerology, you definitely want to go with your original given name at the time of birth. Do you recommend anything for compatibility? I definitely would. So, I mean, astrology and numerology can be used for compatibility. Typically, you would look at the Venus signs and the moon signs for compatibility in astrology. If you're in a relationship already, it's great to look at the personal year numbers to see if just in a year you all will be aligned. If those numbers, you know, align with each other. But astrology is really good for compatibility. Just look at the Venus signs and the moon sign. All right, well, I'm gonna hop off. I really do appreciate you all tuning in. I'm gonna save this video and then also share it, and it'll be saved under under my IGTV series. Let me bend your ear. So thank you. I appreciate it, and I'll see you tomorrow at 7:30.